one of the stitches we do in our Stitching Cosmos online course for the Pfaff students is actually highlight other uses for sewing buttons on. And you actually do this without a foot. Yes, so when we go into our machine and go to your buttonhole menu, number 3, you're looking for stitch number 10 on the Pfaff Quilt Expression 720. Now when I touch this, listen. You heard a little click. That's actually the feed dogs being lowered down. Now we've actually incorporated some tassels in here. There was a bar tack underneath holding these tassels down, and then we added the buttons on top of this. So I want to show you how these were actually done. Now even too, on these buttons, I went ahead and made them where I not only went back and forth, but I went ahead again and made a full square. You could go square, you could also do X's, so you'd go a little further apart, corner to corner. You can do all sorts of fun things when you sew buttons on. But let me show you the basics of this stitch. You are noticing that it comes up at a stitch width of 4 millimeters. Now that is pretty much the size of most holed buttons. You will probably find some buttons from time to time that will have some wider holes and some narrower ones, and you could adjust that. How many times it goes through the hole is 8 times, so it's going to do 8 swings back and forth. So you can increase that or decrease it as necessary. And look, the foot information has disappeared. So make sure you take your IDT off and your foot off. So we're going to actually let the ankle of your machine's foot here, well, not really foot, just the ankle, be what holds this in place when we start to stitch. Now this button has 4 holes, this has 2. You still are going to only do 2 at a time. But on a 4-holer, you know what I like to do is I will stitch the 2 closest to me first. You're going to notice that there's more of the ankle to sit on the button. You also notice that the needle is kind of hanging out here on the left side. So make sure that that needle first comes into the left hole. So I'm going to just position this so my needle and hand turn my needle into that hole before I do anything. Then lower the presser foot to sit on the button. That should hold the button in place. Next, you can go ahead and hand swing the needle to that next hole. And if it goes in there, you can go ahead and stitch. You can use the start-stop button on the front of the machine or step on your foot control as it goes. And a couple locking stitches at the end is all we need. You can use the thread snips, so go ahead. It knows that there's a hole to hit, and it will do just that. Now, after it stitches through that one, you can come and do this back one. Now, if your button is smaller, sometimes it might be better to turn your item around and go ahead and line up for the next 2 holes here. So a little hand swing, make sure you're, oh, I got my foot just a little over, there we go. Make sure that goes in, and oh, I hit the scissors. Oh, that can happen. Okay, well, we know my button's in place. Let's go ahead. We'll just go ahead and sew back and forth. And now we're done. So it still doesn't take long, even if you have 4 holes. And then for those buttons I showed you on the quilt, I just went ahead, turned it this way, and did 2 more this way to get that square looking finished button with the decorative stitch through the holes.